I deserve it. No time to have you lurking. You make a like, now you don't like it. You know I dealt with you the nicest.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today is not such a chipper day, so I'm at work right now, but I just thought I'm gonna film this because I've been feeling some type of way. So recently there's been a lot of deaths that have occurred around me. My aunt passed away, my boyfriend's aunt passed away, my friend's baby daddy passed away. Like, it's just been a lot of deaths and just dealing with a lot of, like, I guess sadness. So I wanted to talk about depression, and the main focus of this video is just talking about how I dealt with depression, and how I deal with living with like depression and anxiety. I'm not an advocate or like a spokesperson or like a doctor or anything. I'm just giving you my personal experience with it. So I don't want you to take anything that I'm saying today as like the end all and be all of how to deal with depression. So I'll put a couple links below of like places you can contact if you are feeling low, or you're feeling stressed, or you're feeling suicidal. Yeah, so let's talk. So when I was 10 years old, my mom died, and obviously at the age of 10 you don't really know, well, I didn't know what death was. So she was sick for a while, and then she was in and out of hospital, and then I just kind of remember just feeling like, okay, she's going to die and I don't want to see her suffer anymore, but at the same time I'm still sad about it. So she passed away, and after her passing away, I went into a 3-year period where I just stopped speaking. I wasn't as happy-go-lucky, I wasn't as happy. I just remember just always being unhappy, and I didn't understand what was going on, and I don't really feel like anyone really explained it to me as to what just happened. Like, she's gone, this is what's gonna happen now, this is who your main adult is, I guess. Okay, so I just moved location because the sun was annoying me, so hopefully you'll see me better this way. So yeah, so I was living with my gran and my mom. So yeah, so when she died, we obviously had the funeral, but after like those 3 years, I just remember not having an actual adult that I felt like I could talk to and ask these questions to, and no one really explained to me what the process is now. Like, yeah, so basically now dealing with being a teenager, going through puberty, and also just having lost my mom, and my dad is not in the picture. So it's like I just felt super alone, and I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt like nothing mattered at that point to me. So fast forward to, high school was just shit for me, just in general, not because of my mom, but just because of high school. But fast forward to me getting out of high school and going into varsity, and yeah, varsity also was just like, there's people around all the time, but it's not like the people that I wanted to be around. So I guess that feeling of being alone just emphasized the feeling of me just, I'm by myself and no one cares, no one is here for me, and this is what my life is now. So I just think that feeling of being alone just echoed throughout my life. So while I was going through high school, I actually attempted suicide for the first time, but it wasn't the attempt of like physically like hanging myself or anything like that, but it was an actual attempt. And I guess my gran kind of saw signs of like I'm going through something, but she didn't really know what was going on. Or maybe it's like a black family thing where it's like she's just sad and there's nothing I can do about it, let's pray about it, yeah. So it wasn't actual things that she did, or maybe she didn't know what to do. So it was just like, okay, if she's sad, she'll get over it, kind of thing. Not verbally saying that, but the feeling was that. So basically, I dealt with this throughout high school and then throughout varsity, and also just growing up as a young adult, having to be now responsible and pay for things and like look for rent. I mean, look for places to stay and pay for rent, pay bills, pay back varsity bills, and all those things are triggers. So what I want to say, because I feel like I'm just going around in circles, but what I wanted to say is that all these things came to me as outside triggers, and for me in that moment it was just going through a lot of like withdrawal and pushing people away and feeling like no one really cared about me and no one really understood. But that was because no one did understand. It's because no one understood because they hadn't gone through what I had gone through. Does that make sense? So yeah, so I kind of went through a period of like just feeling like no one got me, and that made it more, I think I brought it on to myself a little bit. But at the same time, when you're dealing with depression and stuff, you can't really blame yourself for feeling feelings of withdrawal. You can't blame yourself for feeling like it's just you against the world, because in your mind you feel like that, so therefore what you feel is what is real to you. So I mean, I don't know, just the feelings of feeling alone, and even though you have people around you, still feels like you're alone. And those feelings never really truly go away. Those feelings kind of stay there while you're feeling this way. So from that, fast forward to me being 24, I believe, and my life was just a complete mess. I had just lost my job. I was being evicted from my place because I couldn't pay rent anymore. I didn't want to tell my family because I was basically their main source of income, so I didn't want to stress them out. So being evicted, and now I'm homeless. So I stayed with a couple friends, just crashing and stuff, but it wasn't, it just still felt like something I was doing by myself, and it felt like I couldn't speak about it to anyone. I felt like I didn't have support from anyone. It just felt like I was alone, and I took it and I felt this way and I just kept on trying to keep on. But that was definitely one of my lowest moments, where I just felt like, okay, my life is literally over. I have nowhere to stay. I have no job. I can't afford to do anything. I can't afford to send my money home, and then asking me why, and I can't tell them why because of my own feelings of I don't want to disappoint them. So all these things just kind of made me feel that much more alone. But yeah, I just remember going through that feeling of I'm going to end it all, and I didn't care. I didn't have any feelings about it. I was just like, I'm done. Like I'm done. It's a wrap for me. So wrote down my little suicide note, and I messaged my one friend and I told her that, look, if anything happens, I love you. I care about you. Please just tell people that I love them, and I'm sorry, and I'm not I'm not ending it because I hate them. I'm ending it because I just don't feel like I want to be on this planet anymore. And it's not their fault. It's I just felt like, sorry. I just felt like I just wanted to be clear to her that It's nothing that anyone has done. It's not anyone's fault. It's literally just me feeling like I can't do it anymore. So I was on sleeping pills because at my job that I lost, there was moments where a couple months, there was a few months leading to me being like released from my contract, where it just became too much. Like the anxiety of it all became too much. The feeling of me being a failure at work became too much, and just everything was just driving me away from living. And I went to the hospital and they were just like, your stress levels are too high, you're not sleeping, so therefore we're going to give you painkillers and sleeping pills. So the day of me deciding to end it all, I just remember taking like 14 of the sleeping pills. And so I just remember taking 14 of those pills, and in my mind I was like, it's done, it's over, it's a wrap, we can end it here. And as I felt like I was drifting, I felt myself drifting. I felt myself getting light. I felt myself almost floating away. And nothing inside of me felt like, I need to fight for this. I need to fight for this life. I need to fight to be alive. I slept and I woke up like 7 hours later. And I remember waking up feeling like, wow, so I failed at this too. That's a horrible thing to say, but that's literally all I felt. I felt like, so you're just a failure. You'll never even succeed in this. I didn't call anyone. I didn't reach out to any support groups because, like I said before, the picture or the idea of me being alone in this world was so prevalent to me that it felt like, even if I was to reach out to people, even if I was to call someone, even if I was to say I need help, at the end of the day I felt like I'm still by myself. My mom is still never going to come back. So those feelings just kept on and kept on. And I mean, I'm much better now, but I think what got me out of my feelings was firstly acknowledging that I feel this way, because for the longest time it's kind of instilled in the black family or the black community that you're not allowed to show weakness, you're not allowed to cry, you're not allowed to have a moment, because if you do, then we all know that you're weak, but you're supposed to be the strong one. So those feelings kind of just kept on in my mind. And I mean, it sucks because I know the feeling, and I don't want to come on here and give you tips like exercise, eat better, do the right things. I mean, those things do help, and I'm not discrediting anything like that, and I'm not discrediting people's processes of getting better. But I feel like for myself, I had to firstly acknowledge that that was what I was feeling. And in acknowledging that was what I was feeling, I was able to firstly talk to God, because I needed to forgive him for taking my mom, and not in the sense of God is bad, no, in the sense of I'm speaking to my 10-year-old self who thought that God had taken my mom for selfish reasons. It wasn't selfish reasons. It was, my mom was suffering for a good year, and even as a child I knew that she was suffering, and I was helping her as much as I could, but I'm 10, so I don't know any better. I don't know what the right thing to do is. So I guess being vulnerable enough to talk to my friends and actually let them know this is what I'm feeling and this is what I've almost done kind of made them aware, because I, for the longest time and still today, am the strong friend. So the thing of checking up on your strong friends, that's a real thing, because you never know, because they won't let you know, because they are the strong friends and they are the people that have people that are relying on them. But at the same time, everyone is human. Everyone has moments where they break down. Everyone has moments where they need someone to be like, dude, let me talk to you, talk to me, let me listen, how can I help? Those questions, even though they seem like trivial or like they don't matter, they matter the most, especially when you're going through it. So I don't think that I'm depression free. I don't think that I am anxiety free. I don't think I'll ever will be, because of just how my life is and how I've dealt with things. I would love to be, but things still get me down. Things still make me sad. And I think right now, dealing with all these deaths around me have kind of made me aware that death will always be part of life. Death will never be not part of life, because that's what we're immortal human beings. So death will always be there. But dealing with it in a better way is like you have to develop coping mechanisms and healthy coping mechanisms. So you need to find what makes you happy, and it could be the smallest of things. It could be a hobby, it could be an activity, it could be hanging out with your friends, it could be anything. And hold on to those things. Hold on to the people that have supported you, good, bad, ugly. Those times where you needed friends and you needed those people around you, and they've been there for you, hold on to those people, because those are the people that have shown you that they've actually got your back. And that's also what's helped me. My friends are so important to me. My family, even though sometimes, oh my God, but I love my family. And just finding things that are things that you can use to escape. I know for myself, I use a lot of music to help me de-stress and just find my center. And I did a lot of yoga, and I was doing a lot of like meditation and just being self-aware and like aware of my emotions at every given moment. Because once you have these thoughts of whatever the things that are swirling in your head are, and those thoughts become your reality because you feel them and you think them and they become things. If you don't talk to someone about that, that's when it gets worse. That's when you feel like everything around me is falling apart. I don't have control of this, and that will literally take up everything of you. So just finding those things that are key to you, and it can be anything. It could be taking a walk, it could be a creative outlet. Like for me, my YouTube channel is my creative outlet, because yeah, it just is. I like to do DIY projects sometimes. I'm into makeup. So I'm not saying, like, these things that I'm saying, those are not fixes to depression. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying those are fixes to depression. I'm just telling you how I deal with the thoughts that are in my head. Because if I don't deal with those thoughts, that then becomes what I think, what I feel, and I tend to believe that that's the only thing that is around right now. The bad is the only thing, and that's not the case. Sometimes the bad feels like the most bad thing that could possibly be at this moment. Those feelings feel like they're the worst feelings to be at that moment, but those feelings don't outweigh all the good in your life. Those feelings don't outweigh all the blessings you have in your life. If you have shelter, you have food, you have love in your life, you have your friends, you have your family, you are blessed. You might not be the richest person in the world, but if you can, in your mind and in your heart, feel like no matter what happens, I know that I can turn to this person. I know that this person has my back. I know that if I need to talk, I can talk to this person. Those in and of itself are blessings to you. And I just want that to be the signing off message that I give to you guys today, is that I pray all the time, like, and I stay aware of my thoughts. I stay aware of my thoughts at any given moment, because I always have to check in on myself and check in on how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking about and what it is that is ticking me off right now. Because if you don't check those things often, that's when you can start it can start circling in your mind and feeling like a whirlwind of things. So I just want to tell you guys that it's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to feel like you're sad. You don't have to be happy all the time. You don't have to be strong all the time. But talk to someone, tell someone, write it down. Think, feel what you're thinking and think what you're feeling, but also keep a mental note or a mental log of your thoughts, because sometimes your thoughts can get away with you and then your brain just becomes an overwhelming cognitive overload of mess. Depression is hard. I didn't plan this video, but like even thinking about all the things that I'm talking about now, it's just making me feel some type of way. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. But I do believe that it does get better. Bye guys.
Drive me, I deserve